A good Friday morning to you. This is the VELCO Weather Hazards Outlook. This is valid the rest of today, Friday, into next Thursday. That would be October the 22nd next week. It'll be a rather chilly, blustery period this weekend with the first season mountain snows. Near marginal gradient winds across our southern Vermont Green Mountains. That would take place on Saturday afternoon. That does not look like it's going to be a big deal. And a rather cold weekend. Monday we'll see the killing freeze to take place, and temperatures will begin to moderate upward as we get into the middle of next week without any issues into Thursday. The one to watch would be the gradient wind gusts across portions of the Champlain Valley and our local higher terrain on Tuesday, but this also looks very marginal. Our best project weather will end up being on Monday as high pressure builds into the region. And looking at the daily maps here, we can see that a pretty cool trough of low pressure is swinging in, and those bluer lines indicate that 5,400 meter thickness or less, and that's indicative of temperatures cold enough to support snow over rain aloft. And you can see several little weather systems that we're kind of working on through the region here. And the trough of low pressure eventually exits out of the region as we get into Monday. A pretty cool start to Monday. We're looking at freezing temperatures then. But we're looking at, with these little series of weather systems here, and let's go back to that. This one right here, this is mainly across northern areas into really Friday night into Saturday. And then another one kind of swings on through a little bit of Great Lakes moisture enhanced. But overall, we're looking at snowfalls that could be around a trace on valley floors, some of our northern valleys. But most likely above 1,500 feet elevation where it'll accrue just a little bit. We're not talking about anything enough to really produce any kind of issues for utilities. So I'm not anticipating any wet snow loading issues. And it looks like the first maybe up to about 3 inches of snowfall that will take place with this series of these little shots of moisture working in a cold environment. But down on valley floor is really nothing to worry about. So it's going to be the heights, the gaps, the notches that could be affected. Now as we get into Monday, looking at the best project weather day, and then a little bit of a gradient wind issue. You notice the pressure gradient fairly tight across a wide area here. Wind gusts could be a little bit greater than 40 miles per hour. But the gradient has a tendency to relax a little bit, and I'm counting on that as that stronger gradient begins to work into the region here. Mostly affecting the Champlain Valley, a little bit of a channeling wind effect, as well as our local higher Green Mountains. Really not anticipating anything major here. This is a very marginal situation. However, we are into the climatology where gradient winds have a tendency to become more frequent over the next couple of months. Now you can see as we head into Thursday, this is our next little weather maker here. This is going to be some moisture, but temperatures aloft support all rain showers. So really this period, fairly quiet other than the fact that it's going to be a little bit cold this weekend. Total 7-day precipitation, you can see here, basically about a ½ inch, the red line a ¼ inch, and the blue line's around 1 inch. A little bit more in the northern areas, nothing really major there. GFS ensemble shows basically it does get colder aloft, and that would indicate this is centerlined on Montpelier and Burlington. But you can see very little in the way of precipitation amounts. These are just 1/10 of an inch. So overall, accumulated precip is pretty skimpy. However, we're looking at our first season mountain snows. Looks like it's going to be enough. And this is a fairly cold period until we work out of that cold and into warmer conditions. And the temperature anomalies by the Water Prediction Center, max temperatures showing just a little bit below normal here by around 6 degrees from that cold spell that will be through basically Monday. And then the temperatures, it looks like 3 days later, warm up back to neutral. You can see a bit of a warming trend taking place off to the north, the northern tier and back into the west coast. Meteograms shows you the step ladder downward in temperature into Sunday and into Monday. Temperatures topping out on Sunday will be the coldest day, and then Monday we see a little bit of a return and rebound. Temperatures get back up into the mid-50s by the time we hit Tuesday of next week. It does look like the European model is advertising relatively the same thing, a little bit of a dip in temperature and then back up even higher, it looks like later in the week. And in terms of winds and wind gusts, you can see getting up around 35, nothing real major here. This is something longer range. It could be a pretty good south blow. We'll be watching that. That's Friday, just beyond this period. I'm going to drill down a little bit on the accumulated snow and where it lands here. This is total snowfall accumulations. This is by 8 o'clock Saturday morning. You can see basically north of us. And then we start to get into it by between 8 o'clock and 2 p.m. Saturday afternoon. Looks like it's mainly confined to our mountains. Champlain Valley, no issues. Some of our local valleys may see a touch of snow here. We're talking about minutia, very limited amounts. And we'll see how this increases. And a little next surge comes in. It looks like Saturday night, Sunday afternoon. And at that point, this is about the most we're going to find here. Potentially 2 to 3 inches across some of our northern Green Mountains, and as well as down the spine of the Greens. Much less on the valley floors. No issues for utilities. Something to watch, a little bit of snow, a little added color. That's going to be about it. In current conditions, we can see the colder temperatures starting to begin to push in across parts of Ontario and into Quebec, and this advancing area of low pressure wielding some of that colder air into our region. That's what will take place this weekend. Dress warmly. That's it for now. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights.